question from a brother who has emailed us. And the question is, how do one manage Islamic studies and worldly education? I gather he's talking about secular education.
If we're speaking about the importance of the both different disciplines, I think Islamic studies is aham, the most important. And the other studies we're speaking about specifically could be anthropology, it could be philosophy, it could be psychology,
Science.
It could be sociology. It's muhim, it's important for us. Moving forward, living in Western countries, we Muslims, we want to be amongst people who are known as people of progression and development. We don't need to go that far. 100 years back or 200 years back, many of the scholars, their contribution was outstanding, amazing contribution. Why? Because not only they had knowledge of Al-Islam, but at the same time, these people were equipped with knowledge of the dunya. And this is why they contributed immensely. Let us go back a few centuries to Ibn Sina. This is a man who was known as a polymath, who had contribution in every aspect of the deen, as well as medicine, as well as philosophy, as well as psychology, sociology, anthropology, history, all of those important disciplines.
And the books have been taught in universities as well.
Absolutely. And well-known household name in Europe. Today, we are reading the encyclopedia of medicine that was written by this scholar. So these scholars, they contributed. How? Because they had knowledge of Al-Islam as well as knowledge of the dunya. However, saying that, I think it's important that we don't focus so much on worldly knowledge to the point that we neglect ourselves in terms of Islamic education, that you have an MA in philosophy, but you don't know Allah and His Rasul, you don't know the Quran and the Sunnah, then you have failed, because that is not the correct way to move forward. A person should have Islam, and this should be his foundation, his Aqidah, his Quran, his Sunnah, and then indulge perhaps or develop him or herself in worldly disciplines that can help him contribute to the society and help the Muslims move forward.
Now, many a times we get caught up in which one is more important. Now, perhaps the child would want to study the secular education. The parents have a keen interest for that child to study the Dini education or the religious education. Now, sometimes you see it results in conflict within the home. Then how can that be resolved briefly?
Islamic studies, as I mentioned in the beginning, without a doubt is the most important discipline or subject or matter in a believer's life, because their success in the hereafter is very much dependent on how they know Allah and how much they follow the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, a person wants to study psychology, very important topic, sociology and history, but if they study that so much, they neglect Islam, problematic.
Jazakallah khair, inshallah. We will come back to you perhaps in the next segment and find out more in details.